Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this Monday edition of The Right Stand. Plenty happening this evening, ladies and gentlemen. In a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be touching down for the G20 Summit in Bali. Meanwhile, the Union Home Minister will be taking centre stage at the Gujarat Adhiveshan here on the News18 network, and we'll go across to that live. While the Law Minister has taken on the distortions or perhaps distortion of the history vis-a-vis Jammu and Kashmir, and this he has done on News18.com. Yes, it is all happening here on the News18 network. Like I said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just touched down at Bali. This is where he's being received at the G20 Summit. India assumes the presidency of the G20 there hereafter. It's a momentous occasion at a time when the world is in flux. The Prime Minister being received there, getting a official welcome. And this is just on the day when both the US President Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, have had a round of bilaterals. That happened earlier this afternoon. Will India be able to set the agenda? Is the Prime Minister going to be able to communicate the rising stature of Bharat, its assertion as far as a strategic autonomy that it is exercising geopolitically, it continuing to engage with Russia, buying oil and trading, while also continuing to trade with China despite the adversities and despite the mood that's being built around Russia? Will it be able to tell the US that it's not going to embrace any sort of hegemonistic tendencies, even as it turned down a US-led grouping of Asian nations to try and settle a trade agreement, just like it walked out of RCEP, which was being driven by China? So these are the message. What is the message that the Prime Minister will take? And it is in Bali, which also represents a lot of the Hindu culture and is symbolic. And Indonesia stands as a beacon where multiculturalism thrives, and Bali retains its Hindu identity despite all the other islands of Indonesia turning away and now following and practicing Islam. So this is something which Prime Minister, will he in his statement try and draw parallels with Indonesia and India? Abhishek Jha is live with us. Abhishek, the Prime Minister touching down, and interestingly, just the other day I was in Cuttack, where the Cuttack Bali Jatra was being celebrated with the Kalingas of the Yor travelling all the way up to Indonesia, and that too to Bali. So symbolic, cultural, but more importantly, strategically very important, this G20 summit and how the Prime Minister presents India's case.
Of course, Anand, this whole cultural connect of thousands of years of India and Bali can be totally seen walking around Bali. You will see predominantly Hindu temples. Of course, the characters are different, the names are different, but story and the context are very much similar what we have in India. Talking about the Hinduism. Talking about Prime Minister's bilateral visits, bilateral meetings, of course, there is going to be multiple bilateral meetings. About 8 to 10 meetings that are being talked about. A few have been confirmed. Confirmed meetings are with President of France, Prime Minister of Spain, Prime Minister of Singapore, and then, of course, President of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, who also happened to be the host and President of G20 2022. Prime Minister's message will clearly be from here onwards what is going to be the major emphasis or focus area of India. That is what Prime Minister is going to underline during his address and various meetings. The Prime Minister is going to have 3 sessions which will be discussing about food crisis, energy crisis,
right,
and also about...
Abhishek, I have to interrupt there, going straight across to the Gujarat Adhiveshan where Amit Shah takes centre stage.